Hello and welcome to HPA Global Insights, where we'll be interviewing experts from the dietary supplement, nutritional ingredient, and overall natural health food industry. Please like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell, and comment below. Now on with the show. Hi, welcome to the show. Today we have a good friend, Michael Lee. He's the managing director of Wellgenex Sciences based in British Columbia, Canada. And today we're going to talk about some differences between the US and Canadian dietary supplement market. How you doing, Michael?
Very good, and thanks for the opportunity with your members and industry and clients.
Yeah, so I think it's the US market, of course, is like the largest supplement market in the world, and Canada is right there in the border. Also a sizable market, but less people. But let's talk today about some of the things that maybe companies overseas or different areas aren't aware of, or it may need some assistance getting into the market. So let's talk about first finished products. So I think before we start that, let's talk about terminology first. So in the US, these are called or referred to as dietary supplements. And there's so many different names: nutraceuticals and food supplements, nutritional supplements, and there's on and on and on. So what is the legal term in Canada for dietary supplements?
Yeah, the legal term for dietary supplement, in Canada, is called natural health products. So now natural health products, automatically include dietary supplement, all the vitamins, herbal products, botanical products, and probiotics, enzymes, and even some of the OTC drugs, in Canada. So all under the so-called prescription and natural health product, directorate of Health Canada. So that's under that kind of that regulation. Yeah. So we short for natural health products is short for NHP. So it's called NHP in Canada.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Tidbit to know, because we just, when you read literature or articles internationally, people usually just refer to them as dietary supplements or something like this. So it's good to know that little tidbit. So let's go to the next part. And if you are a finished product company, meaning a B2C type product selling to a consumer in a finished form, what are some of the steps or things that you need to do to get into the Canadian market from outside?
Yeah, I think it's the big difference, from dietary supplement, if your company inside the US versus into Canada, is that for natural health products, which is dietary supplement, in Canada, they are required pre-market approval. You need to file applications, to Health Canada, obtain the product license. It's called natural product number, so for NPN. So you need to have that, license, approved before you are allowed to import and legally import and sell the product in Canada. So that's the big difference.
All right, so when you go through that process, the product will actually have a number assigned to it.
Correct. There will be a number assigned, which is a license, called the license number assigned to it. That number needs to be put on the product, the primary label of the product, and also the number can be accessed, through a database in Health Canada that consumers, can access to and then verify that approval, and including the ingredient as well as the approved claims and warnings and on all that.
All right, so a consumer can actually go to the store and see the product, see the number on the label, and they could, if they wanted to, access the government website and have a look at that product, right?
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. We don't have that in the US for sure.
Yeah. So that's I think it's the biggest difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a kind of a regulatory process. Now, a lot of people, I've worked, as you know, I've worked in China for many, many years, and China always likes to say this, and other countries, oh, the US market's not regulated and this and that. Of course, it is regulated. It's just regulated differently.
Correct.
Okay, so that process of getting the natural product number, approval number, what does that look like for a company in terms of investment of time, money? I know each product and the amount of ingredients, there's a lot of variables that would affect maybe how long it takes or how much money it costs to get the approval. But if you could give us just kind of a approximation of how long it would take to get that and how much money it would take to go through that process.
Yeah, I think to make it short is that, as you already indicated, it depends on the product. So currently, there are three categories, of these filings, so it really depends on the product and the formulation. So for some of the simple products that already, have pretty clear information, meaning that, Health Canada, have published, compendials, monographs, for some of the formulated products, as well as single ingredient products, for example, echinacea and ginseng, ginkgo, and all those. So, and then they already have pre-approved claims, so if you stick to those, and those are what we call the compendial filings, so that's the easiest, versus the most complicated one is that, you have multiple ingredients or even single ingredient that's not covered in the compendial. And then that would go through the so-called non-traditional application. So the easy one, Health Canada now, has the so-called performance, standard. So normally, you can obtain your approval in as short as 60 days.
Okay.
And the quickest will be 60 days. And then for the most complicated ones, it could take 210 days. That's the performance target, of Health Canada. So typically we would advise a client, anywhere from 3 months, maybe even up to a year, for the whole process. And so that's the timeline. In terms of the cost, in the past is kind of categorized into two areas. One is the application fee charged by Health Canada, and secondly is obviously for consultants like us to put together the application and all that. Apparently, the application fee has been waived by Health Canada because the natural health product regulations, is new. So currently, that application fee is still waived. But in the future, the under the cost recovery program, that application fee will be back in the future. But now it's waived. So we could only talk about the service fee, for example, that our company charge, is anywhere from as low as $1,000, and all the way into a few $1,000s. That's mostly like $5,000. That's typically the range, that for pretty much 95% of products,
Sure.
we work with people. Yeah.
Okay. And now, we work with, so your company is dealing with obviously regulatory affairs and helping companies with regulatory situations in Canada as well as the US. And are you doing some regulatory stuff in other countries as well?
We also help, companies, to do, regulatory, filings, besides Canada, it would be mostly just the US. So we focus on Canada and US. These are two
Okay.
focuses. Yeah. So although
Okay.
that we serve, many clients from other countries, but typically it would involve, working with Health Canada, and in the US, FDA and all that,
Oh, okay. And then, so the other aspects of your business are like product development and commercialization, right?
Yeah, because besides regulatory affairs, we have a team of people that have expertise in the scientific affairs. So we kind of different, from regulatory consultants who just, for example, looking at the product and then filing the applications just for the for just in the focus of getting the approval. So because from time to time we would look into products, and then if the product, for example, is not feasible or fit into getting a product approval, we would be in position to advise the company if they could, for example, do make some changes to the claims or to the ingredients, or what we call optimize, the formula, and then to make it, feasible, for the Canadian regulatory, requirement. So
Okay.
we do that as well, and because personally, I'm also have an adjunct professor role with University of British Columbia. So we have a Western Nutrition Research Center that's open to work with industry, to for product testing, development, and clinical studies and all that. So we use that, center to serve our client as well.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. It's a lot more, bit more turnkey. You can do a lot more than just applications and approvals.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I think we can talk maybe a little bit about some of the small, and they're not really small, they're just things I think maybe companies overlook. And one of the things we were talking about earlier was, which is highly used here in America in formulas, is the proprietary blend, which for those that don't know is a list of ingredients on a product, and there's just one potency or weight, if you will, of the product. So there's no, each ingredient is not listed out in terms of how much actually is in the formula. And
Yeah.
so how does that work if you're, trying to get into Canada?
Well, I think that's the I think that's we from time to time we did run into kind of an issue with clients from overseas, and from the U.S. in particular, because proprietary blend is popularly used in the U.S., and trying to protect, some of its IP, trade secret and all that. And here in Canada, as I explained earlier, because for products they need to go through a application approval, and then the approval, is listed on a database that's accessed, by the public. So pretty much, in the application, we have to disclose, each of the ingredients, and its amount, potency and all that. And once it's approved, so the approval is published on the database. So it could be accessed, for the general public. So basically, I think the proprietary after the approval would not be proprietary anymore, right? Because it's published already. So I think that we always, try to explain and put that kind of, caution in the beginning. So if proprietary blend is what you really want to protect, and the Canadian, system here, may not, allow you to have that, full freedom.
Yeah, and it is hard to protect IP of products. I mean, it is kind of an ingenious way in the U.S. system how they do that, but
Yeah.
because most of these, the ingredients used in these are all natural, and you can't patent something natural, so it is kind of hard to do that.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah, I
thing,
think for that topic, it's just, sometimes we explain it and then people will ask why. But I think that, like, for example, in the eyes of Health Canada, they would, the argument would be, hey, like, what happened if someone, is allergic to certain ingredient that you're not, claiming or listing, right? And then,
yeah.
or some of the safety issues and all that, So I think that, yeah, that's kind of a point, to be considered.
And the other thing is bilingual labels, which is again something that's major, but kind of I think simply overlooked sometimes by people, is that you need to have the bilingual label, right?
Yeah, that's, because in Canada we have the bilingual requirement, French and English are official language. So it's versus the US, if you have put out an English label, only it would be, we meet the minimum requirement. So here we do require that, So yeah, so that's another a consideration that need to be taken into.
And then, and as far as the, in the US, we have the structure function claims, which allow companies to communicate to consumers that a product is good for a specific system. So for example, like this is good for the cardiovascular system. It doesn't have any specific health claim like cures heart disease or treats high blood pressure, these type of things. So I think the claims in America are very, it's a good system to communicate to consumers that something does something for something. It's kind of broad, and it's not very specific. But with the approval process in the Canadian system, there is more of a more direct kind of correlation to a health claim, correct?
Yes, it's very correct. Here in Canada, because natural health products is regulated as a subset of drug, so for natural health products, as long as you can present, evidence, and provide the supporting evidence, and the healthcare accepts those evidence, you could make structure function claims, just, as you folks, in the US. You can also make, risk reduction claims as well as therapeutic claims, so like drug-like claims for natural health products. So I think that, in terms of claims, we have a lot more to offer, on this side of the border. Yeah, and that's also some companies, overseas, a lot of companies overseas that, like would come to Canada, to obtain those approval just for the sake of getting the approval, on the claims, and then to be listed, on the website and all that. And even though some of them may or may not sell product in Canada, they just want to have the claim, so you can have a product, being claimed, being proved by Health Canada with these kind of claims, and that would help them to market the product in other places as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So with that, then it's probably sometimes if you're going the other way, like a Canadian product coming to the U.S. market, maybe they have to be a little careful because of the differences in the strength of the claim they can make in Canada. Bringing that to the U.S. isn't going to follow the structure function system of the U.S. FDA.
Yeah, as I think we discussed earlier, yes, we do have, Canadian companies, do learn some lessons, from that, when they try to sell products, without making many modifications into Canada and in the US, and then even, leave the whole claims on, and because some of those claims, are not, happy, in the eyes of FDA, and drug-like claims for supplement, and they have to be, those products have to be recalled and all that, so went through, some financial, loss for companies and all that. So yes, so yeah, so going, from products from the U.S. coming into Canada, good news, you're allowed to make, you're allowed to make, maybe some of the more claims for products. But for products from Canada to US, I need to be careful on what sort of claims, so you may have to tone down and stay within the structure function claim, territory, rather than going to drug-like claim territory for the US.
Now, for finished products entering the Canadian market, they have to abide by Canadian GMP standards for natural health products.
Yeah.
And I mean, every country has their own system for that. Some companies or countries may not fully have a system. Like in the US, we have a full system of CGMP, but there's no license given by FDA. So we in America have to rely on third-party companies like NSF to do the registration or certification as a third party. Now, those for US products, those third parties are recognized by the Canadian government?
Well, it's a case by case, like you mentioned, and all that, it's acceptable, mostly it's case by case situation, but it is quite different, for example, Canada is one of the Commonwealth countries, for example, when for countries like New Zealand, Australia, and all that, it's because of the Commonwealth. And also that, Canada has a mutual recognition agreement with a lot of European, countries, so-called MRA, so for countries, for companies operating in those, manufacture in those countries. So if they have GMP approval from those countries, and they typically we have a pre-clear status with Health Canada, meaning that the GMP, it's on a it's on a priority, consideration, for pre-clear acceptance, in Canada. If it's for countries, if they don't have those, for example, let's say that in China, even for TCM products, and TCM product is regulated as a drug in China, and then normally they would have drug GMP. But because the GMP is not automatically recognized by Canada, so this company would have to, some of this company would go into do foreign certification like the Australia TGA for the Chinese factory. For that, you can use that, to support, the GMP. If not, that we would need to again to go into individual case, to apply, directly to Canada. To have the sites, particular site approved, as having GMP that's equivalent to Canadian standards.
Okay, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. Because we both deal with other products than just finished products, we'll kind of wrap up this session and talk a little bit about ingredients. So companies, of course, there's lots of Chinese companies that make ingredients for the dietary supplement, natural health product industry, and European companies. So there's quite a few. What is a company looking at in terms of, if they wanted to bring their ingredient into Canada, commercialize it, and sell it to the manufacturers in the supplement industry as well as, the food industry?
Okay, to answer that question is, I think, probably I would provide, two angles to answer that question. First of all, for ingredients, they are not like finished products. So for ingredients, by law, ingredients, are not required to have product license, like the NPN, the natural product number approval. So assuming ingredient, does not have any safety issues and all that, and you can easily sell ingredient into the Canadian market, just like, you sell into the US market, without the requirement of any kind of market approval. Obviously, if it's a NDI, that's a different issue. And so for companies that they're trying to sell ingredient in Canada, if they don't want to make any claims and have any special status, which I will jump into, the next is that they can sell, the ingredient like vitamin C, ginseng, extract, or ginkgo extract, or a curcumin extract, and all that. And so it would just become a generic ingredient, in direct competition with others. So having said that, we also have companies that, really, understand the Canadian regulatory, landscape, and take advantage of this landscape, which is that, they would go beyond that is to make the ingredient as kind of a special ingredient in the sense that, you're allowed to go ahead to make a product license application for your ingredient and or to file a natural health product, master file with Health Canada to cover these quality, safety, or efficacy, one of those all three areas for your particular ingredient. So once you have that approval, so an ingredient company would take that to sell it into companies that would put that ingredient into the finished product at the same time that they can leverage on the approval that the ingredient company already obtained, and then just easily do a reference letter and then get that similar or the same claim, for the finished product. So in the sense that it would help the ingredient company to open, like to make their marketing and sales, make it easy for other company to buy into, because, if I buy your particular ingredient, I know that if I put this particular ingredient into my finished product, I would automatically qualify to obtain this or these two or these three or four claims that already approved by Health Canada.
Oh,
So
okay.
so that's a huge difference, from the U.S. system.
That is, and it's also a big difference from um, the area I specialize in, China. I mean, if some of the ingredient companies we work with in China, first you got to get your ingredient approved to be sold in China as a new food or new raw material. If it's not already approved,
Correct.
then that takes at least 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to sell into the food market, or in the case we're talking about dietary supplements, each company that takes your ingredient has to then get their product approved. So from the
Yeah.
time you enter the market, you're looking at 2 to 3 years to get approval just for your ingredient. And then your
Yeah.
clients are looking at 3 to 5 years to get their finished product approved. So I mean, it's a huge investment of time. Where what you just outlined is very streamlined, and since it's already been approved and looked at, why is it that a finished product then has to go through that whole process all over again like they do in China? It's just a lot of
That's
wasted
kind of
time.
we also serve a lot of Chinese clients as well. So when we explain to them, the same thing, yes,
Yeah, well, that's
so it's
great.
a
I mean,
no-brainer, yeah.
that is really advantageous for the ingredient companies to have that. Once they have that, then all their clients can enjoy that. That's nice.
Yes.
All right, well, we're getting a little long here. We're over 20 minutes. And up there in cold Canada, you got your hat and coat on already. It's winter time and the sun's going down, so your room is getting dark. And we're going to eventually not be able to see your room anymore.
Yeah,
So,
like it's our sun goes down at 4:15,
yeah.
and what time is it right now? Gee, like we're up north, Canada,
Yeah.
right? We are the north.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
So let's wrap this up, and we can always do some more videos together and talk about different aspects of the industry. Again, thank you, Michael, for taking the time. And we'll put up at the end of the video, we'll put up your information. So if people want to contact you or have some questions about what we talked about, they're more than welcome to contact me directly or you, and get some answers.
Excellent. And Jeff, thanks again for the opportunity, so everyone, safe, and it's not too soon to say happy holidays, This is
Yeah.
this is going to be a special holiday season for everyone. I
Yeah,
wish everyone well,
we're just 3 weeks out almost from
Yeah.
Christmas. So yeah.
Yeah. I
And
just got a joke today that, Christmas is going to be moved to January 9, and the reason is, Santa is going to be quarantined for 15 days, so.
he's gonna be quarantined everywhere he goes. He better not. He better
Yeah.
not fly over China. They'll put him in a hotel for 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
he'll be out of
Okay.
commission. But yeah, let's hope we
Okay.
all get a gift, and we can get this vaccine out to everyone, and hopefully we'll have a nice light at the end of the tunnel soon, and can get back to expos and conferences and shaking hands and meeting everybody.
Yeah. And good health.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care, Michael.
Take care.
Okay, I'll
Thank you.
talk to you
Take
soon.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to HPA Global Insights. Please like, subscribe, and share with your colleagues. Any questions or suggestions, email us at info@uschinahpa.org. This channel is operated by U.S. China Health Products Association, which is a nonprofit organization. Please consider joining the association and supporting its global endeavors. Your support is very much appreciated. Until next time, take care.